President Trump is leading President Biden in Wisconsin. And Electoral College ratings are trending towards the former president, as well as questions surround the current one.
Meantime, Trump's search for a running mate also heating up. Brooke Singman has more. Hey, Brooke.
Hey, good morning, you guys. Yeah, the Cook Political Report just moved 6 key states towards Trump in Electoral College ratings. So that's Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada, shifting from toss-up to lean Republican, while Minnesota, New Hampshire, and a swing district in Nebraska shifted from likely Democrat to lean Democrat. And a new poll shows President Biden is trailing Trump by 6 points in battleground state Wisconsin. This could spell trouble for Democrats who remain divided on Biden's political future. 7 House Democrats have already called on President Biden to end his re-election bid, while several others have admitted he will likely lose. One Democratic senator says he fears a Republican sweep. Listen.
Donald Trump is on track, I think, to win this election and maybe win it by a landslide and take with him the Senate and the House. And so for me, this isn't a question about polling. It's not a question about politics. It's a moral question about the future of our country, and I think it's critically important for us to come to grips with what we face if together we put this country on the path of electing Donald Trump again.
Meanwhile, the former president rallied with tens of thousands of supporters in Florida yesterday alongside VP contender Senator Marco Rubio.
The radical left Democrat Party is divided in chaos and having a full-scale breakdown. I think they probably think I'm going to be announcing that Marco's going to be vice president. I don't know. Because that's a lot of press. That's a lot of press.
The good news is that while they're trying to figure out who their nominee is and how they can trick Joe Biden into not showing up tomorrow to work so they can replace him, we know who our nominee is. He's going to be the next president of the United States, and his name is...
Trump says he has not made a final decision on his running mate just yet, but will announce his pick shortly before or during next week's Republican National Convention. Guys?
Hey, hey, hey. Guess what day it is? Woo, woo. Big Mike, 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 Big Mike, 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 Mike. Woo, woo. Where are those photos? Whose kids are those? Guess what, guess what, guess what, guess what? Hunter's got a gun, and he's running the country with his babysitter mom, who has asked you to call her doctor. Woo, woo! Guess what, guess what, guess what, guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what day it is? Hump Day. Hump Day.
I watch the memes live with the chat, okay? I sit here, I watch the memes with you. I have a big old screen. I watch the memes live. I don't see them. We have a tradition on this program that is long-standing, that I don't watch the memes. Klein, do I watch the memes? I don't watch ALX. Do I watch the memes? I don't watch the memes. I don't watch them. Jerry makes the memes. I don't see them before they go on the show. And hot damn, I can see why they banned Joe Camel as a mascot. That was convincing, actually. That was a deeply convincing meme. That hump day camel rolling through the desert and a water slide, apparently. And a stand-up comedy routine to explain the current state of our nation, which is actually just kind of perfect, in fact, if you think about it. Why not? There are no more rules. Welcome to the Thunderdome, ladies and gentlemen. 100 days and change before the November election. We are out here on Wednesday, July 10th, 2024. George Snuffleupagus doesn't think Joe Biden will live another 4 years. He spent 20 minutes with him, and now he's saying Joe Biden's mentally handicapped. Incredible hidden camera video. Pelosi twists the knife in Joe on live TV, and we're going to explain why that is so important. Joe Biden won't be getting any insider stock trading tips anymore. Ooh, so brutal. What will you do without learning from the witch of Wall Street herself? Congressman Greg Steube and Trump advisor Danielle Alvarez joins the show to talk about a massive night in Florida last night. We were live for all of it. An incredible night at Trump Doral. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. What is to become of me? Ladies and gentlemen, I was up very early this morning. I had to take my car into the shop. They open at 7 a.m. So I hit the road right 6:30. And I got to tell you, not a morning person, right? There are these guys who wake up at like 4 or 5 o'clock, right? And they do all this, all these routines. Nah, I'm not saying I sleep in, but I'm not exactly a morning person. And so I was drinking my coffee. The first thing I did in the morning, got up, made my coffee. So when I'm done with my shower, got all dressed, shaved, grabbed my coffee on the way out. And ladies and gentlemen, as soon as I got out the door, it's too long of a story, but as soon as I got out the door, I was like, oh, still, it's too hot, here in Tampa, Florida. So I got my hot coffee. I walked out with my hot coffee and my cold coffee in my hands. So here we go. We have the hot coffee and the cold coffee. I literally walked in to the dealership like this. All right. One hot coffee, one cold coffee, both of them blackout coffee. All right. That's the point of the story. Point of the story is the coffee that I don't drink in the actual percolator. That sucker goes right into the craft for cold coffee, and I have them both, and it's delicious both ways. Ladies and gentlemen, blackout coffee is the coffee that I drink. Keeps us caffeinated, keeps us going. We were live for like 200 hours yesterday. I don't know how long we were live. We're going to be live for 1 million hours this next week. We're going to bring the blackout coffee with us. We've rented a little house in Milwaukee, right, for the whole teams. I'm going to bring my blackout coffee. That's what we're going to drink. Blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Drink it to have the energy to fight the communists. Blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. 20% off your first order. Blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Ladies and gentlemen, Blackout Coffee can also be found on Public Square. Some our awesome partner on this program. So much cool work with Public Square that we're doing. Trying to swap out everything for Public Square items. Make sure we are not woke and that we're not broke, ladies and gentlemen. So be awake, not woke, with our friends at Blackout Coffee, available on Public Square. Okay, so very interesting stuff from this morning. Ooh, man. Okay, very interesting stuff. I don't even know where to start. Ladies and gentlemen. I got to start with Pelosi. Okay? Got to start with Pelosi. Do we have that article about, let's grab that article with, do we have that article with, from Charlie Spearing? Pelosi, and the important signals. Okay, I want to start with this because this is breaking news. George Stephanopoulos broke last night. We'll get to that. I think that's very important. But this is something that happened moments ago, minutes before we went live on Joe Biden's favorite show. Okay, we're getting loaded right here. Man, fastest gun in the West, ALXAI, fastest gun in the West. This is a article about how they're going to get rid of Joe Biden. It was written by our friend Charlie Spearing. He's a friend of the show. He's been on the show. Great dude. Charlie Spearing is somebody who was mocked and ridiculed and ripped asunder for writing this article. And he writes for a respectable publication, the Daily Mail. And the media went BANANAS on Charlie. They said, you're stupid. They said, you're dumb. They said, you're making it up. And Charlie wrote this way before the debates. I think before even the Trump guilty verdict. Charlie Spearing was writing that this is the secret Democrat plot to replace Joe Biden. And he writes about Obama, but Obama and Biden really hate each other. And he writes about Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden really don't like each other. And he writes a little bit about Chuck Schumer, but who the hell cares about Chuck Schumer? What he really focuses on here is Pelosi. And I'm only going back in the annals of history here to read you this article that's, 6-7 weeks old here, because it's very, very prescient. It's very important. What Charlie was able to report out was that Pelosi is the linchpin. Pelosi is the person who holds it all together for Joe Biden. Pelosi is an evil witch. She's very, like many witches, she's very, very powerful. And she has black magic. She casts spells, and the spells, many say they come from like wands, right? Like wand, broomstick or whatever. Nope, Pelosi spells come from the end of a martini glass, filled with lukewarm vodka, made very, very dirty, and boy, she's spitting all over Washington, D.C. Pelosi's literally spitting on TV because she can barely keep her dentures in her mouth. In the clip I'm going to show you, you're going to see a Pelosi who doesn't have any makeup on, which is very curious, who looks bad. Okay, she looks pale. She doesn't look good. Pelosi never really looks good, but like she looks rough, even for Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi in this clip looks like she's just spent an amazing night with her husband Paul, and in a car driving through Napa Valley. You'll remember her husband Paul like nearly killed a couple people drunk driving through Napa Valley and crashed his car into a vineyard. So Nancy looks white as a ghost. She looks about as bad as Joe Biden. She's a little older than Joe Biden, and there's this marked change of tune. It's really important. There's this shocking change of tune with Nancy Pelosi this morning that is stunning and tells you exactly what's about to happen to Joe. So Nancy Pelosi is really rich and controls so much of the wealth of power, donors, and most importantly, the most valuable asset in all of Washington, D.C., information, with an iron fist of control over the Democrat caucus. But now she's lost it. And this is something really important. This is something that comes from the reporting out from yesterday. And we're going to show you a bunch of clips of a bunch of Democrats saying a bunch of different things about Joe Biden. The power of Democrats is very much the power of, the hunting velociraptor or, the herd of wildebeest, right? In the Serengeti. You ever watch a documentary show? They stay together. They're all very low IQ, dumb individuals, but as a pack moving together, they can fight off various scandals and things. Democrats are now breaking apart. This is why Pelosi looks so bad this morning. Again, I'm going to show you a clip where Pelosi all but says Joe Biden's going to drop out. I have this article up on screen because this article called it. This article called it from 1,000 yards out that Pelosi will be the linchpin. If Pelosi pulls that grenade, it's over for Joe Biden. This is the person holding up the entire operation, Nancy Pelosi. ALX, if we don't have it in the script, I'd like to get Nancy Pelosi's commentary on Joe Biden, like so we can see the what do they call it? The evolution. What's the kind word to say from corporate PR? The evolution of Nancy Pelosi on Joe Biden and the issue of Joe Biden. Because Nancy Pelosi has gone from literally screaming into the camera, like screaming so hard her dentures like flying out of her mouth about how great Joe Biden is. You're going to hear Nancy Pelosi say how young Joe Biden is, how spry he is, how she can barely keep up with him. She's gone from that, ladies and gentlemen, to this. This is the moment it all turned for Joe Biden. Mark my words. This is it. Not the debate, not the Stephanopoulos interview. We'll get to that. This moment that happened just seconds ago on TV, this is it. Mark it down in your book. I'm not sure Joe Biden will drop out because of this, but I'm telling you, this means Joe Biden, this means it's over, okay, for Joe Biden. Watch.
Does he have your support to be the head of the Democratic ticket?
As long as the president it's up to the president to decide if he is going to run. We're all encouraging him to make that decision because time is running short.
Oh, man. Oh, it's not good for you, Joe. This is a very, very different Nancy Pelosi. This is a very different tone change for all Nancy. Nancy says, she's gone from, do we have these clips loaded? I want to show you guys I'll show you guys the erosion of Nancy Pelosi's conversation, erosion of Nancy Pelosi on Joe Biden. Okay, here we go. All right. And let's, I guess we're going to work our way backwards here because Nancy Pelosi now, after a day of being absolutely brutalized by Democrats who, I'll read your reporting. Apparently Democrats were crying, were sobbing, were in tears, were laying down. There are reports that Democrats were laying down on the floor in panic in this meeting with Nancy Pelosi. Also, can load that as a play beside, please. I need you got to see how tough, you got to see how rough Pelosi looks in this, because I want you to listen to it, but I also want you to see like exactly how rough she looked. No, the clip that we just played. Yeah. Oh man. She doesn't look good. She looks like she's just been through hell. Okay? She looks like she's been through hell. No, Klein. I'm talking the clip I just played. Please. Yeah. Too many Pelosi clips flying in with ALXAI. Here we go. So Nancy Pelosi looks really, really bad here. Let's go. We're gonna watch this together. We're gonna break this down. Here we go.
Support to be the head of the Democratic ticket.
As long as the president has the president, it's up to the president.
She can barely keep her dentures in her mouth. Okay, so first off, she's like slurring, and she can't. She's in tough dental glue period here in her life. Why is she up so early, by the way? And this is Morning Joe. It's important to say this is Joe Biden's favorite show. Apparently, Joe Biden watches this. It must be on a rerun because he gets up at 11 o'clock. So he watches. So first thing, Joe Biden watches Gilligan's Island. Then he watches the Johnny Carson reruns of the Johnny Carson show from the 1960s. Then he watches a Bugs Bunny, and then he turns on Morning Joe. This all starts at about 11 a.m. in the morning during applesauce time. And if he finishes all of his applesauce, then he gets extra cinnamon on the rest of it, says Nurse Ratchet, Jill Biden. Okay, let's continue.
To decide if he is going to run. We're all encouraging him to make that decision because time is running short.
This is a shorter clip. And this is a shorter clip than the one that we had this morning. Okay. I need the close-up of Nancy because she looks absolutely brutal this morning. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to move on to the next one. Here we go. The next one. Nancy Pelosi. Looking very much like Michael Jackson in this one. She must have used the makeup shotgun from The Simpsons. And she is in front of a fake background of the Full House in San Francisco, which I'm sure now is a crack den run by Hunter Biden. Here's Nancy Pelosi wondering if Joe Biden has a condition. This is from a week ago.
And while he may be saying we're enablers, we see Joe Biden up close. We know how attuned he is to the issues, how informed he is. And I debate with him about legislation, and not debate, but discuss it with him. He's right there. So in any case, it was a bad night. Let's not sugarcoat that. It was a bad night. It was a great presidency.
You can see the moment. You can see the moment there where Nancy Pelosi actually like sucks the, I'm sorry I have to do this. I don't want to do this. It's gross. But she sucks the dentures back into her mouth. You can see it. I want all these loaded as play besides, Klein. I want them all loaded as play beside. You can see the moment where Nancy Pelosi goes and sucks the dentures back into her mouth. All right, okay. So let's then rewind the clock. So we've gone from Joe Biden will Joe Biden drop out? Well, Joe Biden will make that decision. Joe Biden will make that decision next week. Nancy Pelosi has said. This is the most recent thing. Nancy Pelosi 2 weeks ago said Joe Biden may have a condition, but he's done good. All right, let's run the clock back a little bit more. Okay, what was Nancy Pelosi saying about Joe Biden 4 weeks ago?
Do you think there's any chance he does not continue running?
I hope not. I hope not. I mean, this president...
David Ignatius recently came out saying he thinks the former president should not run.
Yeah, so that's one.
Oh, okay. So that was Anderson Cooper saying, is Joe Biden going to drop out? Oh, I hope not. I hope not. That's a pretty big change from Joe Biden will make that decision and make it very soon, which is where we are today. Let's continue.
Not debate, but discuss it with him. While he may be saying we're enablers, We see Joe Biden up close. We know how attuned he is to the issues, how informed he is. And I debate with him about legislation, and not debate, but discuss it with him. He's right there. So in any case, it was a bad night. Let's not sugarcoat that. It was a bad night. It was a great presidency.
You can hear it. You can hear it. Oh man. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so this is where we've come from. Hey Alex, there's one more I want to get. Where Nancy Pelosi says that Joe Biden that she's older than Joe Biden, and Joe Biden's like a young spring chicken. Oh, Nancy Pelosi. Oh, he's so young. He's so spry. He's so agile. Is this it? This one's so good. Oh man, this one's so great. Nancy Pelosi, like a young spring chicken. By the way, this is Pelosi this morning. There you go. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, this is the full clip. Thank you guys. This is what I'm talking about. Do you see what I'm talking about? I apologize that it took us a second to get this full clip. Did you see it? She looks rough, dude. Whoa. Yeah, she forgot her face, is what our producers are saying right now. Producer chat at this program is flying. Look. Dude. Whoa. Oh, man. Okay. You look rough, lady. Oh, no. This is the, like, I just opened up. I just opened up the front door to Paul's hammer party. This is the face you make, right? So Ashley on our team is saying no eyelashes or eyebrows. Yeah, that's right. Or lips, for that matter. Woof, Buzz, your girlfriend. Oh man, Buzz, your girlfriend. I love this one with her in the dentures. Look at this. Dude, it looks like a Dr. Seuss character. Where's your teeth? What happened to your mouth? What is going on? The chat is losing it right now. The chat is melting down. Okay, all right, okay. Here we go. Enough fun. Here we go. Joe Biden is so young, says Nancy Pelosi. Joe Biden is so young, I can barely keep up with him.
Be prouder of him. And again, we're very fortunate that he is in that position. But again, age is relative. I was in L.A. For some Democratic stuff recently, and I met with Norman Lear, who's 100, going on 101. He was telling me some new shows he was involved in. I was meeting with Frank Gehry, a 90-something architect, showing me new buildings he's building throughout the world. And they were like, 80, he's a kid. But again, it's relative. He's younger than I am, so he's a kid to me as well, the president is.
He's younger than I am. He's a kid to me as well. Joe Biden, he's so young. He's a kid. I was meeting with 90-year-old. And see the difference between Nancy when she's had the makeup shotgun? You see the difference? Oh, baby. Nancy looks rough for a reason. The reason Nancy looks rough is because the power of Democrats, again, comes from them being lobotomized herd animals. Okay? This is the power. And Nancy, she really does look like a Batman villain, doesn't she? She really looks. Can you hear like Batman's like if he goes down like the dark hallway, right? And his feet are like echoing on the stones, and he hears a cackle. And and this is the face that he sees. You found me, Bruce. All right, enough. Okay, enough. We have a serious show here. We're not punch drunk from too much good news. He's a kid to me, says Nancy Pelosi. All right. So I just wanna mark this in history that we called it. We said they were going to swap out Biden more than a month ago. We said this way before a bunch of stuff. We said this because we actually pay attention to our friends who write articles like the one that Charlie wrote. Charlie said Pelosi is the pin that needs to get pulled on the grenade. And when that pin is pulled, it's over. Okay? Now, Joe Biden may well still run, and I pray he does. Joe Biden, all the king's horses, all the king's men ain't going to pull Joe Biden out of the shower, right? Remember, it's shower time. Right in your diary. No one's gonna make that old mule budge. What that really means is no one's gonna make Joe Biden. You know, Joe Biden wants to be the first female president. Here we go. First bath curtain Xanaxed Chardonnay mom, suburban mom, aging in yoga pants president. The end. That's the end of my rant on Joe Biden. She's just an evil witch that commits elder abuse, and all these people are. But now it's collapsing. The Pelosi thing was like the signal. So this is the signal, ladies and gentlemen. It gets worse though. It does get worse. The guy who interviewed Joe Biden for 20 minutes straight, full 20 minutes. You see, it's a long form interview. They called it. His name's George Stephanopoulos. He used to be Bill Clinton's little, water boy, right? He was Bill Clinton's pool boy who had to go out and threaten all these reporters and hatchet job all these journalists, right? And now suddenly graduates to chief anchor at ABC News. He did the Joe Biden interview. It was a nightmare. And here's George Stephanopoulos saying on camera, hidden camera, Joe Biden's cooked, okay? He won't survive another 4 years. Go.
Hey, excuse me. Hey, how you doing? Good. What do you think? Do you think Biden should step down? You talked to him more than anybody else have lately. And you could be honest. Serve 4 more years. You don't think he can serve 4 more years? All right. That's an answer.
I don't think he can serve 4 more years. Ooh, the continuation of all of the pain. It is so spectacular. So we've covered the House. Nancy Pelosi obviously rules that with an iron fist. Let's move on over to the Senate. This guy named Michael Bennet. He's a senator from Colorado, and he's going viral because there was a report of him behind closed doors saying, no, Joe Biden is cooked. Joe Biden's done. Stephanopoulos says he's done. Pelosi says he's done. And the guy said, you got to respect the guy for this. He just said, you know what? Screw all this like backroom reporting. I'm just going to go on CNN and say it. But I wasn't expecting this. Check this out.
My colleague Dana Bash reported that you, Senator John Tester, and Senator Sherrod Brown all said during that lunch that you don't think President Biden can win in 2024. Is that true?
Well, it's true that I said that. And I did say that behind closed doors. And you guys and others asked whether I had said it. And that is what I said. So I figured I should come here and say it publicly.
Why do you think he can't win in November?
I just think this race is on a trajectory that is very worrisome if you care about the future of this country. Joe Biden was 9 points up at this time. The last time he was running, Hillary Clinton was 5 points up. This is the first time in more than 20 years that a Republican president has been up in this part of the campaign. Donald Trump is on track, I think, to win this election and maybe win it by a landslide and take with him the Senate and the House.
Donald Trump is on track to win this election, take with him the Senate and the House, says this senator from the state of Colorado. Oh man, what a brutal 24 hours. And it gets worse, actually, right now. Here's George Clooney. George Clooney calls on Biden to step down. Oh, it's so fun. Clooney says, step down, Joe. That's right. I love Joe Biden, says George Clooney. Blah, blah, blah. But the one battle he cannot win is the fight against time. It's so funny. This is George Clooney's statement right now. None of us can. It's devastating. But Joe Biden, 3 weeks ago at a fundraiser, and he was not Joe Big Effing Deal Biden of 2010. This is an incredible quote. So he says, this is George Clooney saying he was at this fundraiser where Barack Obama had to lead Biden off stage. Do you remember that? Barack Obama had to like hold his hand as a Visiting Angels ad, right? Visiting Angels, the blah, 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 blah. Barack Obama leading Joe Biden off. George Clooney saying this was not Joe Biden. This was not the same man that we are used to seeing. He was the same man we all witnessed at the debate. Oh, that is so brutal. Because the argument here has been that, oh yeah, Joe Biden, he's fine. He's fine. It was just a bad night, is what they all say. Oh, it's not just a bad night, baby. Oh man, it is. This is getting just so exciting. I'm so happy about this current moment. Okay, there's your breaking news on that. So we have some interesting reporting about Joe Biden. I'm not sure if we have Joe Biden's strange commentary last night. He called the head of NATO a wigger. And then some people are saying that he said something extremely untoward about his wife. Pretty weird, pretty creepy stuff from Joe Biden. Yeah, he calls the head of NATO. So in order to combat all these people saying that he's lost his mind, Joe Biden has decided to step on stage in front of all of our biggest allied partners and call the head of NATO an intellectual wigger. Here you go.
Much of the progress we've made in the alliance is thanks to the Secretary. He's a man of integrity, an intellectual rigor, a calm temperament in a moment of crisis.
Okay, cool. Apparently, world leaders have all noticed Joe Biden's deterioration, and they are getting really, really concerned. Check this out.
What do foreign leaders or allies think of President Biden right now?
They don't think he can serve another 4 years. And I will say that is true of every leader that I have met with that's attending the NATO summit. Years, they've seen the deterioration. They've seen him slow down. And it's not just physically slowing down. It's repeating the same anecdote twice in an individual meeting. I've heard that from a world leader today. It's, not recognizing someone that he knew quite well when he came up and introduced him.
It's getting exciting, ladies and gentlemen. So what's actually happening to Joe Biden? We've been covering this. I think it's important to retread just one time about what's actually occurring with the resident of the White House. We've been calling him the resident of the White House for a long time because we see the White House as a nursing home now. And the resident of the White House seemingly has Parkinson's. Now, all week we've been talking through this, not trying to be mean, okay? And I'm not trying to claim to be a medical expert. I will play you, however, commentary from a medical expert here in just a moment, in an astonishing clip, actually. But if you go through what happens to you and your body as it deteriorates via Parkinson's and the destruction and demyelinization of your nervous system, you realize that these symptoms are evident in Joe Biden and everything that he does. Tremors in the hands, stiffness in the gait, inability to swing your arms when you walk, pivot, like the inability to have any type of fluidity when you're moving, slow and slurred speech, and brain fog. These are all signs of Parkinson's. Now, this does describe to a clinical T Joe Biden, and then you compound that with the fact that a bunch of Parkinson's experts keep going into the White House like a revolving door. They can't keep him out, and they're meeting with mystery people that Cringe Jean-Pierre can't talk about. Got it. I think the AP broke a story last night that Cringe lied to us. That's a shock. Would you like lies with that? Yeah. Getting prepared for her next career in the McDonald's drive-thru window, Cringe Jean-Pierre lied. Apparently the AP has reporting that Joe Biden was at those meetings and broke the story that it was Joe Biden that this Parkinson's expert was seeing and assessing. Okay. What do the Parkinson's experts have to say? I mean, we can just read from the diagnostics, the DSM-5 and Mayo Clinic. What do the experts have to say? We always like talking to the experts, right? Okay. Let's go. Parkinson's expert. Does Joe Biden have Parkinson's? Tell me.
Noticed anything that gives you a red flag as a doctor? Oh, yeah. I see him 20 times a day in clinic. I mean, it's ironic because he has just such classic features of neurodegeneration. I mean, word finding difficulties, and that's not, oh, I couldn't find the word. That's from degeneration of the word retrieval area.
He's also overcome stuttering, though. Could that be part of that, too?
No, this is not a palatal issue or a speech discrepancy, which is very different from a lemmonode dysfunction, actual word retrieval, where you pick a similar question or talk around the issue, plus the rigidity, monotone voice.
Wait, go back to that, the rigidity. What do you mean?
Rigidity, loss of arm swing, standing up lordically. You notice when he turns, it's kind of en bloc turning. It's not a quick turn. So that's one of the hallmarks of Parkinsonism is rigidity and bradykinesia, slow movement. And he has that hallmark, especially with the low voice that said was a cold, hypophonia. A small monotone voice like this over time is a hallmark of Parkinsonism. I could have diagnosed him from across the mall.
Here are some of the symptoms from Parkinson's. We just had him up there on the screen. If we can put him back. What about the movement? Some people have pointed out the way he walks. Sometimes it's not very fast, small steps. Is that something that is common in people who are battling a disease like Parkinson's?
Yeah, it's a hallmark. Shuffling gait, we call that, so little steps. Loss of arm swing from the rigidity. When we walk, we have a nice cadence. You notice he doesn't really swing his arms. And en bloc turning, meaning he kind of pivots around his foot. If you said, hey, President Biden, he wouldn't go like this. So, yeah.
But I also know, and tell me if I'm wrong here, it's very hard to diagnose Parkinson's, isn't it? It's not simple. I mean, I've heard that it can be.
It's one of the easier movement disorders to diagnose, actually.
Right,
but it's so clinic. There's very little other. And I'm a Democrat. I always say about this.
Right.
It's just like this guy is not a hard case.
But I've had relatives who have gone through neurological issues, and I've heard that sometimes Parkinson's is not very easy to nail. You have to take a lot of tests.
It's early on. If you're just presented with like hallucinations, that could be a variety of things, or just the cognitive problems. That could be Alzheimer's versus Parkinsonism, and that becomes a little nebulous. But once you start manifesting the hallmark motor symptoms,
right?
Slow movement, rigidity, mass facies, hypophonia. I mean, if a med student did not pick Parkinson's on the test, they'd be remediated.
So let me ask you, you're a Democrat, you're a doctor. You sound like you're frustrated with what the White House is saying.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because, I'm an American before everything. And I look at it and say, when I used to see Russia, Soviet Union, North Korea, when they just make outrageous things, like when North Korea can't keep the lights on and they say, oh, it was some faulty power thing. I kind of hate that kind of stuff. They had 4 years. My own party had 4 years to find, this was a wreck in slow motion. And they had 4 years to find out of 350 Americans, one person that could take the place. And here we are the day before school trying to do the homework and replace a guy who's got a neurodegenerative disease.
Dr. Pitt.
Oh, man. That's what they mean when they say the good doctor. What they mean is a guy who's willing to be like, yo, I'm a Democrat, I've been a Democrat my entire life. My party's acting like North Korea. Because Joe Biden has dementia. By like a 1,000-yard shot, boom, in the mall, I'd be able to diagnose that guy. He says in the mall, with 1,000 people walking around and Joe Biden across the mall, I'd be able to diagnose him having Parkinson's, which is a form of dementia. My clinical nurse wife reminded me of this morning, actually. So what a time to be alive. Ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment, we'll be joined by Congressman Steube, who's one of our favorites, and who will be able to comment on Donald Trump's incredible rally here in the state of Florida. I just want to note here and put a pin in something that every Democrat is now saying that Republicans will not only keep the House but will win the House, including Democrat delegates to the DNC convention, including Democrats that were allegedly crying yesterday at the DNC. Saying that at least 20 seats may be lost. 20 swing seats may be lost because of Joe Biden. Keeping Joe Biden in the race is going to become the number one goal of this show. It is our number one motivation. Okay? Here are DNC superdelegates saying, we're cooked. We're done.
Essentially, if Biden ends up running, potentially the Democrats could lose the Senate, the House, and the White House. And it's going to be a bloodbath. The blue states that we have held for many decades might potentially turn red. Trump is doing well when he runs against Biden in those states. And then the swing states, the battleground states, they are looking terrible. So at this point, all the polling indicates that Trump is going to win. So we need to send the best and the brightest out there to run against Trump. He's beatable, but we need to send somebody who's got the energy of a commander-in-chief. Here in Silicon Valley, we have had great leaders, and companies thrive because of good leaders. At this point, it's debatable if Biden can lead our nation. You know, carrying the nuclear football is.
It's like they picked up on one of my monologues from like 3 years ago. It's amazing. It's like the dude just reading from one of my old Newsmax monologues. It's incredible. Ladies and gentlemen. So much fun. Joining us now, somebody who is a barrel of monkeys, somebody who is a lot of fun, Congressman Steube from the state of Florida in the potentially ever-growing Republican majority in the House. Joins us live now. Congressman, I got to get your take on this secret little DNC meeting they had yesterday, which allegedly included your colleagues on the other side of the aisle, as they say, on the floor crying, according to Axios. Apparently, your Democrat colleagues, some of them were in fetal positions, and some were laying on the ground crying. This is according to their reporting, not according to our memes, although I could make a meme of this, and maybe we should. But I just want to get maybe your takeaway commentary on that reporting.
Well, first of all, I love it. It's great to see. I mean, I go to the members gym this morning and on CNN, and this is what CNN is saying. It's going to be a bloodbath in November. Trump's going to destroy the Democrats. Like, Trump's going to win by a landslide. And we're only 4 months out. And it's interesting, like, just hearing other Democrats talk, or you just kind of talk to them and kind of shide them a little bit, like, so what's going on with you guys? And it's interesting, having been up here 6 years, when it's always, the media is always attacking us, trying to divide Republicans.
Yes.
And for once in the 6 years I've been here, you've got the Democrats divided, because you have Democrats who are like, look, like, Biden has serious issues. We have serious polling problems. And like what your previous clips were showing, like there was a comment from, I think it was Takano, this was public now, that he said that his district went for Biden by 65%, and polling in his district is showing that Trump is winning. In a California district, that Biden won by 65%. So if small districts in California are flipping by like 15 points, that is very problematic for the Democrats, and I love to see it. I absolutely love to see it, because this is not about Joe Biden. Part of it is, but this is about their policies, not just Joe Biden's policies, the Democrats' policies, open borders, Afghanistan, Ukraine, the war in the Middle East, all of the economic woes we've seen, inflation, people going to the store and they can't even afford McDonald's anymore. Now that's a luxury in their family afford. Going out to eat is a luxury because they can't even afford to go and buy eggs and groceries at the store. Families working multiple jobs to be able to pay for things. That's really what the basis of this is. And it's all because of Democratic policies that have created the current economic and national security crises that we're seeing in our country.
Congressman, it must be delicious for you to see the Democrats in disarray. I know that's a meme, but it's actually happening now. It's often that Republicans, because we think freely and act freely, have little subsections and factions on Capitol Hill, and the left loves splintering the Republican base. But now it is chaos on the Democrat side, true crisis.
All of their lies, the Democrats, the White House, mainstream media, have finally caught up to them, where even MSNBC and CNN and ABC have to admit that Joe Biden has cognitive issues. Joe Biden has health issues, that the White House has been covering all this stuff up, and they have to admit it now. And then you're seeing the economic impact of their decisions. You're seeing the national security impact of their decisions. I mean, I had a woman raped in my district by an illegal immigrant. This is not just an invasion at our southern border. Florida is a border state. New York is a border state. I was talking to Nicole Maliotakis out in New York yesterday during a hearing that we had in Ways and Means, and she was saying how they're having challenges up in New York. So you have, and I saw a clip this morning where New York is now a swing state. When in my lifetime has New York been a swing state for Republicans? So and I believe it's not just Joe Biden, it's the Democrats as a whole. It's their policies that have created this. And finally, The American people are seeing it. And finally, the mainstream media doesn't have a choice but to cover the destruction that has been created by Joe Biden's administration.
They hate populism. They hate the rule of the majority. They actually hate democracy because, like, the point of democracy is that the majority actually does rule and over time gets what it wants. They've imported 30 million new illegal voters and migrants. They are illegal aliens by law. As you just referred to, things are going catastrophically on that front. The SAVE Act is something that we've been covering all week. You got a little bug in our ear. We read the legislation. This seems like some of the best legislation I've seen come out of the Republican House maybe ever. What's going to happen? Is that up for a vote today? Can you give us an update, please?
It'll vote on that tonight. It'll pass. I'm very curious to see if a single Democrat votes for this. And all this bill does is say that you have to be a citizen of our country to register to vote. Because we've had states in our country like California, New York, and some other municipalities that actually want to give illegals the ability to vote. And what's also very telling is that the White House has sent out a communication to to Democrats that say they oppose this. So think about that. You have the White House, the president of the United States, saying that they think it's a bad idea to say that only citizens of our countries, to put it in law that only citizens of our country can vote in elections, because that has been their ploy this entire time. They don't care about the safety and security of American people. They shipped in 12 million people and then have told them and tried to convince them to vote in any way that they can. Thankfully, there's states like Florida that have a lot of things in place that prevent that from happening, but states like California and New York, they don't. And some of these states, all you need is a driver's license to register to vote. And in some of those states, you don't have to be a citizen of our country to get a driver's license. So you're in a situation where you have illegals, and there's been a report recently that in 2008 and in past elections, illegals have actually voted. And it is a factual thing that this is going on. So what this bill also does is take illegals who have illegally registered to vote off the voter rolls.
So again, the Biden statement on this was remarkable. We actually had Chip Roy, who's one of the sponsors of the bill, on when Biden's statement came out. And Biden's statement said, so illegals vote in our elections. It confirms that. But they don't vote like a lot. Right. and it's a big no-no to do that. So, like, calm down. Did that persuade the Republican conference?
No. And Mary Miller Meeks won her congressional seat by 6 votes in a general election. So don't lecture us on that these votes don't matter. And that's just like what we know. I mean, I'm sure there's a whole host of people that we don't know that are doing this, especially now that there's 12 million new illegals in our country. So it's common sense. And what's interesting is if you polled this in Democratic voters, the majority of Democratic voters don't think that Venezuelans, Russians, and Chinese people that have illegally come through our southern border over the last 3 years of Joe Biden's open border policies should be able to vote in America elections. I would imagine even the majority of Democrats would agree with that. And that's how far left they're going, where they're losing independents, they're losing moderates, and they're losing the suburban women because of issues like this that mainstream America says, no, that's wrong. It's not okay to have Chinese Communist Party individuals, over 50,000 of them, by the way, that have come in under Joe Biden's open border policies, vote in our elections in America.
50,000 communist Chinese could swing virtually any congressional district in the country.
12 million people is more than the population of some of our states. I mean, that's half the population of Florida.
Right, but like 50,000 communist Chinese individuals acting at the behest of the Communist Party of China, registering illegally, which all it takes is ticking a box, could absolutely unseat members of Congress. You want to talk 100%. About threats to democracy? I'm saying, Congressman, just the number of communist Chinese nationals that have come into the country could flip congressional seats, any congressional seat.
Well, and I think we lost by like 42 when the House flipped. When I first got elected, it flipped Democrat, and I think we lost. If you accumulated all of the seats that we lost and the margin of victory that the Democrats had, it was only like 42,000 votes. So yeah, absolutely. And this is exactly why they're doing it. I mean, it's incredible. When I was saying this 3 or 4 years ago, people were like, oh, no. And now, like, they realize that, oh yeah, this is exactly what their plan has been all along.
So you say that you are on the side of the the country, that you are on the side of mainstream America, as you call them, populist America, where actually most people agree on the basics, right? About not sending money abroad to pointless wars and closing our borders. This is what two different rallies within 12 hours of each other looked like in your home state yesterday. This is a Jill Biden rally in Tampa versus a Donald Trump rally in Doral, Miami, last night. I see a difference. I know that Joe Biden says that he draws a big crowd. All right. And this was actually a Nurse Ratched crowd. This was a Joe Biden crowd. But I see a difference here, Congressman. I see a slight difference here in your home state.
Yeah, and I was watching some of the interviews of the people that drove. There was one gentleman with a MAGA hat on that drove all the way from Tampa, all the way to Doral to wait for President Trump to speak. I mean, that is an enthusiasm that obviously Joe Biden does not have, to wait, to drive from Tampa to Miami, to wait. They said he waited like 8 or 10 hours. He got there like 8 o'clock in the morning to be one of the first people in line for general seating to be able to listen to Donald Trump speak. I mean, you don't see people doing that for Biden. You don't see 100,000 people in New Jersey showing up in a Democrat state. Oh, by the way, for a Trump rally, you don't see that happening for Joe Biden. And it just shows you where America is. It shows you where we have been. And I think you're going to see, if the election were held today and we sustain this momentum going into November, I think you're going to see one of the most historic gains for Republicans in the history of our country. God will. So I'm looking at the chat right now, and a lot of
they love you, Congressman, but everybody has the same comment. They say, all right, let's say we give Republicans get the House and the Senate again and the presidency. What the hell happened last time? Right? You got some semi-permanent tax cuts, and I'm not blaming Trump for this, but I'm looking at Paul Ryan, right? The guy who promised us a border wall, the guy who promised us all these things, and we got nothing. Can you assure the voters this time around that Republicans will have some balls?
I would love to, because the difference is going to be Donald Trump in the White House after a first term. He knows exactly what he needs to do to get things done. He knows the mistakes he made with certain appointments and things that were going on. He had to deal with Russia, impeachment hoaxes, all of these things that were going on. And he is going to pull the party. Think about the difference in the House. Today, 65% of the members in the Republican conference got elected either when Trump got elected or after. So we now have 65% of the conference that is America first.
65%?
That number changes after this election, because you have people leaving, you have people that have gotten beaten primaries. So you're probably going to have 75, 80% of the Republican conference that are going to be Republican first, America first individuals that are pro-Trump individuals. And if Trump is in the White House, which I absolutely hope and believe that he will be able to drag the conference to his position, because he will be so bold on certain issues, like you brought up the tax cuts. We have to make those permanent in 2025 or they expire, and small businesses tax bills go up by 22%. If there are Republicans that are waffling on that for one reason or the other, he will pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, if you don't want me to primary you in your midterm election, then you have to help me support this so we can help the American people. So he's going to be that push for us, that he's going to bring the whole conference along with him. And it'll be very hard to oppose the sitting president who's sitting in the White House, who has such a strong support base in our party. It'll be very hard to go against what the president wants to get accomplished, because we really only have 2 years to do it. You've got those first 2 years to knock it out, because traditionally we lose seats in the midterm elections. So you got 2 years in Trump's presidency to knock this stuff out of the park.
Yes. Well, we're looking forward to it. We know that you are one of the very few members of Congress who could actually knock someone out of the park, Congressman. And
There's only one of those that's happened.
You represent the great state of Florida very proudly. I'll give you the final word here. Your message to Joe Biden in the last 100 days of this race.
Keep doing what you're doing, because it is great for the election. It is great for the American people. I hope you take Trump up on that golf challenge, because I would love to see that. I would love to see that televised. And let's have a debate every week, like Donald Trump wants. No holds bar, mano a mano. You want to get so bravado about things and challenge them. Let's see that and have a debate every week.
Remember, Congressman, we finally beat Medicare. Remember,
Right. Yeah.
we finally beat it. We've been fighting for so long.
My favorite clip was when Trump said, I don't even know what he's saying. I don't even think he knows what he's saying.
Dude, and the moderators didn't even interrupt. They're like, you know what? Actually, that's true. Shockingly, we're on the side of CNN moderators and George Stephanopoulos and Nancy Pelosi, of all people, being like, yeah, Joe Biden is mentally handicapped. The congressman, the great Congressman Steube from Florida. Everybody go give him a follow. Make sure that we continue to grow our ranks and strengthen them. Godspeed, Congressman.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
All right, baby. Rock and roll. Donald Trump was rolling last night. Ooh, baby. What an incredible event. You got it. The photos are wild. The images are incredible. The event is heartwarming. Actually. Donald Trump introducing Barron Trump for the first time. Barron Trump's only been in like official photographs, right? And little snaps from the White House. He's been a kid. Give the kid his space. Give him some privacy, damn it. Right? Leave Barron Trump alone. Now he's 18, and Barron Trump has decided, apparently, by himself, that this is something, this world, he wants to mix it up a little bit. And so he made his first appearance last night in the most heartwarming political moment of the year, Donald Trump introducing his son Barron for the first time.
And a very young man. This is a young man. He just turned 18. Oh, look at this. A very young man who's now going to college, got into every college he wanted to, and he made his choice. And he's a very good guy, I'll tell you. You know, I'm not allowed to call them boy, but he is my boy. He's my boy. They're all my boys, right? When you have sons, they can be any age. They're your boy, they're always going to be. And he is a very special guy. Barron Trump. This is the first time he's ever done this. Barron. Where is Barron? Stand up. Look at him. That's the first time he's done it. That's the first time, right? Hey, you're pretty popular. He might be more popular than Don and Eric. We got to talk about this. Hey, Don, we got to talk about this, huh? All right. So, Barron, it's good to have you. Welcome to the scene, Barron. I don't know. He had such a nice, easy life. Now it's a little bit changed. Anyway, a special guy, right?
Look at this amazing post by the president on Truth Social. Barron Trump with the iconic fist. The wave. Barron Trump is, by all reports, 6'8", 6'7". ALX, let me know. Hey, tall kid. Look at these images. These are great photos. Some of the close-ups. Ladies and gentlemen, there he is. Look at the man. Spitting image of Donald, isn't he? Spitting image of your boy, Donald. I mean, you go look at a young Trump. You get a young Trump side by side. It's the same kid. It's wild. So strong genes, as they say. Strong genes. Donald Trump showed up in a phalanx of golf carts. ALX says somewhere between 6'9" and 6'7". All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a spokesperson for the Trump campaign that will be on the show in just a moment, and we'll ask. So they showed up in a phalanx of golf carts. This was an amazing entrance. So all Don and Eric, Trump's sons, plus Barron, they were all driving in golf carts. Donald Trump was in his Secret Service SUV. I don't think they let him drive golf carts, a thing like this. Anyway, looked awesome. Little did we know that was a precursor of things to come. Donald Trump challenging Joe Biden to a golf game, $1 million on the line. This is amazing. Let's go.
That's why this evening I am also, and this is in honor of you and everybody here, is 45,000 people. That's a lot of people. I'm also officially challenging Cricket Joe to an 18-hole golf match right here. On Doral Blue Monster, considered one of the greatest tournament golf courses anywhere in the world, one of the great courses of the world. It will be among the most watched sporting events in history, maybe bigger than the Ryder Cup or even the Masters. And I will even give Joe Biden 10 strokes aside. 10 strokes, that's a lot. That means 20 strokes in case you don't play golf. I will give him 10 strokes aside, and if he wins, I will give the charity of his choice, any charity that he wants, $1 million. And I'll bet you he doesn't take the offer. I would bet because he's all talk.
All right. I want to see it so badly. There was a meme last night of like the two of them debating at Topgolf. Please make it happen. Of course, Biden bitched out completely and immediately said he won't be doing that. Joe Biden said, well, my golf handicap in a statement is the fact that I'm handicapped, actually. And so Biden campaign put out some mewling, stupid statement, some play on words, and completely weak. They did mention Marco Rubio, though, in the statement. Marco Rubio was there. Many thought that Donald Trump would be announcing Marco Rubio as the VP. He came close. Here you go.
I think they probably think I'm going to be announcing that Marco is going to be vice president. I don't know. Because that's a lot of press. That's a lot of press.
Okay. He also said that Marco Rubio may or may not be in the Senate to vote on some of his legislation. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. As ever, ladies and gentlemen, we need to go to the source. All right. On this program, we will talk to the experts, and there's nobody better to talk about what happened last night at Doral and where the campaign's energy is going to go moving forward to the last 100 days and change of this campaign than Danielle Alvarez, who is a Trump 2024 senior advisor. Live now. Danielle, thanks for being on the show. I don't know. Were you at the event last night?
I was. It was actually held in my hometown. I'm a Miami girl, Cuban American.
You know, I could tell by your background, and it looks completely beautiful. There's like this look that Miami has. But what we saw last night was really iconic. I just, what's the right way to say this? We kept going on and on about it. Donald Trump wasn't angry. He wasn't mad. It wasn't like, it was like joyful, like bountiful, happy warrior Trump. He was loose. He was lively. He was cracking jokes. It was the happiest I've seen him in maybe years. And so clearly the man is absorbing all this positive energy. Did you get that at the event?
Absolutely. I mean, the energy when you were there, 45,000 people, it's possible that there were more. And I'll tell you something that we actually haven't said anywhere else. That event was the president's idea. It was his idea to do it at Trump National Doral, to do it on, I believe it was the 10th hole. I mean, it was his idea. The crowd is electric. I mean, let's be very clear. Florida's off the table. I believe it was Jen Dillon O'Malley who finally admitted to Puck, like, you know, we say Florida's on the table. It's not. That's because of President Donald J. Trump, that Florida has more registered Republicans than Democrats for the first time since, you know, we've made those calculations. So it was just absolutely electric. I mean, you saw the clips. It was so energized. The crowd was thrilled to see him. And let's be clear, Democrats have had a terrible 13 days, 14 days since that debate. And President Trump is on a high. He knows what he's working towards. And he's leading the campaign and he's leading American voters towards November, towards making America great again.
So you are an advisor to Donald Trump, but you said that Trump made this decision himself to do an event at Doral. I need to correct myself because a minute ago, I said that Donald Trump took a Secret Service SUV into the event. That's false. I have been checked by my producers. My producer says, play the video. Here's Donald Trump leading the phalanx of golf carts into the event. Did you know this was going to happen? Were you in one of the golf carts?
Yes, I was. So we had instead of a motorcade, we'll call it a golfcade. And, you know, something you'd never seen Joe Biden do was actually my favorite moment at the end of the rally. He hops behind the wheel of the golf cart. Barron jumps in right next to him, and off he goes to lead the golfcade. I mean, when you talk about the energy, I mean, just the dominance of President Trump, it's such a contrast to what we're seeing in these fights happening in the Democrat camp on the left of who will even be at the top of the ticket. What President Trump showed last night is that our party is united behind him. I mean, again, every state, battleground states, we're starting to see Virginia, Minnesota, we just put on the map. We're starting to make hires and spend money there. We're seeing great polling in New Hampshire, in New Mexico, in New Jersey. And even Democrats are coming out and saying, you know, last night on Caitlin Collins, right, the senator said, I just think we lose it all. And that is solely because of President Trump and the message and the record that he has.
Yeah, that was a powerful speech. And it's really like, I believe, something that is so important on the campaign because, that's the right way to say this. It's the reason why we do our show with a lot of memes, humor, you know, no script, just kind of like free form, because people are attracted to positive energy. People that are having a good time at a party, tend to be people who want to go to the time, go to that party, right? If you're having a nice time and people are laughing, people want to go there. And we saw that energy from Trump last night. We're seeing a lot of doomers, a lot of darkness and anger and fear and rage from the left. It seems like that's all he got.
I mean, President Trump is exactly as you said. I mean, just so energetic. His speech was so positive. You know, he lays out at every rally what he plans to deliver for the American people. I mean, he's been talking about it since 2015 and especially doubled down in this campaign because Joe Biden has just destroyed our nation, as President Trump said last night. I mean, just a record of absolute failure and weakness and dishonesty. And you're seeing that contrast personified, the strength of President Trump. I mean, I will tell you, I'm a South Florida girl. It was hot. It was probably 100 degrees. And there he was, strong as ever, delivering a positive message to the entire crowd, to everyone in the media who was live streaming. And again, just contrast from what Joe Biden and his camp are incapable of doing.
So can you tell me the strategy, the electoral strategy moving forward? A lot of people who I talk with are like, just focus on the swing states and just win, right? There's a lot of shenanigans that happen in these states, a lot of ballot drops that happen at 3 a.m. Can you calm the chat here and the audience who will say, well, you know what, Democrats are just going to steal this thing all over again? Like, what infrastructure do you have to prevent that?
And there's a couple of things that the president says. I mean, he said it last night. First of all, we need everyone to go out and make a plan to vote, because the best way to win is to make this too big for them to rig. When it is close, that's when those shenanigans happen. We need to swamp the vote. We need to make this too big to rig. And as you know, the president asked Chairman Whatley of the RNC to serve in that position because of the background he has and what he did in North Carolina for election integrity. So the RNC and the Trump campaign are working hand in hand to make sure that we're securing the vote. I think they've been tasked with recruiting 100,000 volunteers, poll watchers, poll workers, and volunteer attorneys to make sure that we have eyes on every part of the process. We have the most aggressive litigation that we have ever had to make sure that these shenanigans can't happen. Because what happened in the past is we were in a 40-year consent decree. We could not do this work. And Democrats were the only ones in this space. And President Trump tasked the RNC and the campaign with getting really aggressive. I encourage all of your listeners to go to swampthevote.com because we are looking for those volunteers if they'd like to get involved. We want to make sure that we have eyes on every step of the process, not just on election day, because this used to be called election day operations. It's not. It's an election season. We know that ballots start going out in September. We know that we need to be fighting bad laws on the books or election administrators who don't follow good laws on the books. So we have a very aggressive litigation strategy. I want to say we're in over 85 to 90 lawsuits across the country. We're recruiting poll workers and poll watchers across the country as well. And most importantly, as President Trump says, we have got to make a plan to go out and vote, talk to your family, talk to your neighbors, because we have to make it too big to rig.
A quick preview of the GOP convention coming up. I know that you're very locked in on those plans, and also, when are we going to get that VP announcement?
Well, I mean, the president could do it anytime. He's the only person that knows who, when, and where. Internally, we always joke, we're like, is it going to be a truth? Is it going to be at an event coming up? It could be even at the convention. But the reality is, again, as this chaos is happening on the left and they don't know who's going to be at the top of their ticket. And the most terrifying thing, or maybe equally as terrifying, is Joe Biden, at the helm for another 4 years, is the notion that he may drop out. And that would mean we have a President Kamala Harris. Any of the choices that the president is looking at is going to be far better than the original borders are, than the person who for the last 3.5 years has been lying to the American public about Joe Biden and his cognitive abilities. I mean, the choices and the deep bench that the Republican Party has is just in huge contrast with what the left is going through right now.
I just want to say this on behalf of the entire audience, because we do polls virtually every single day about this. Please help us manifest Vivek Ramaswamy versus Kamala Harris VP debate. That's all I beg of you.
I'll pass that along.
I beg of you. This is all we need. We only ask for one thing. We want to hear Kamala Harris say, "You think I fell out of a coconut tree?" We want to hear her say that to Vivek. We want to hear her say to Vivek, to be,
I would love to see
what is it?
Unencumbered
by what has been. Or you guys did a great ad on this.
I was just going to say, I'd love to see any sort of, whether she becomes the top of the ticket, and clearly Joe Biden is saying he won't drop out, and or whether she ends up, in that VP slot debating our VP, just the word salad that exists. I mean, her inability to explain even the most basic concepts when she has to go out there and defend her and Joe Biden's record for the last 3.5 years. I mean, it's going to be a comedy sketch, maybe. Or potentially just very sad.
You are seeing now like these people who've, to their great shame, like covered for Joe Biden's mental handicap. You're seeing them now come out. Jimmy Fallon's doing like a regular skit now about how diseased Joe Biden is. It's remarkable. But to their great shame, they did their best to cover it up. And now that now that it's exploded onto the national scene, they realize they're losing. It's the panic is delicious. It's absolutely delicious. So anyway, we encourage everybody to be what can be, unburdened by what has been. That's the Kamala Harris line. I hope you are unburdened, Daniel. We'll see you at the RNC convention. Godspeed and good luck. Everybody follow Danielle, please, right here. Make sure that we are growing our ranks and strength. And look at that beautiful Florida beach right there. Looks fantastic. Danielle, thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you so much for having me. We'll see you in Milwaukee.
All right. Too big to rig. Love it. Too big to rig. What do we got here? Boom. We got 6 states moving towards Trump after Biden debate performance, according to the new Electoral College prediction. Look at this, the Cook Political Report. Whoa. This is causing pure panic in the ranks. Pure panic. Look at this. 6 states. 6 states. So this is what the Cook Political Report is no friend to Republicans. All right? Cook Political Report is cooked for Democrats. So here we go. Arizona has moved to from toss-up to lean Republican. Georgia from toss-up to lean Republican. Minnesota from a likely D to lean Democrat. Nebraska, that one goofy seat in Nebraska, that there's updates on this. We might have some motion on this. We'll see. We'll see if we get activated. If we get activated, we're gonna go in on Nebraska, man. We got some plans. We gotta turn Nebraska into winner takes all. Democrats get 1 electoral vote out of Nebraska. Can you believe that? Can you imagine? Democrats get a single electoral vote out of Nebraska, and changes the math. That single electoral vote changes the math. Well, anyway, that district is now turning more right. New Hampshire to lean Democrat, and Nevada from toss-up to lean Republican. Woo! Are you in any of those states? Every single one of them going towards Trump. Every single one of those states. States like Minnesota and New Hampshire. It's so great. It's so great. Nikki Haley. We hadn't done any Nikki Haley news in a while. Nikki Haley has released all of her delegates to Trump ahead of the convention. Nikki Haley had like a handful of delegates because she won some delegates in these races. And she's now given them all to Trump. So that's good news. There was whispers of like Nikki Haley challenging Trump or something at the convention. Good to see those. Good to see those crash and completely burn. And so, ladies and gentlemen, an exciting moment in American history. A moment that maybe we shouldn't at all forget, because these are the moments where we see the work that we've been doing for years paying off. This is the moment where we see the hustle and the grind and the grit and the abuse that we have taken. And we've taken nothing compared to like some of the political prisoners, compared to Donald Trump. I don't know how the guy does it. I don't know. I do not know. We know a ton of people from the Trump team. I don't know how he does it. The kids, the family, Barron Trump. Look at this photo of Barron Trump. Can we put that photo of Barron Trump back up? Look at this kid. He's 18. Could you imagine being 18 years old and watching your dad go through all this? Could you imagine that? They're the one with the fist, the triumphant fist. Yeah, look at that. Zoom on in. Look at that kid. Imagine watching your dad facing 400 years in prison. And this is like, you still have that lion in you. Amazing. Incredible. Incredible, ladies and gentlemen. It's remarkable. And there's one ad that actually sums it all up. And as we close here, I want to play, every time I get an opportunity, I'm going to play you this ad. It's an ad narrated by Tucker Carlson, and it's a Trump ad that explains perfectly what this movement is all about. And as we romp into the RNC, and as we move to conquer and vanquish our enemies, I want to actually perfectly crystallize for you what this movement is about. It's a beautiful thing. If you wish to join the movement and you wish to join our show, please join the Benny Brigade. Benny Brigade at BennyJohnson.com. You can join, become a member for the cost of a McDonald's large fry per month. You can keep our team going, of course. We know that is tough economic times for so many people. If you can't afford that, we understand. I've spent most of my life completely dead broke. And so we just thank you for watching, no matter what. But if you wish to support our mission here and support our team of creatives, then please sign up for the Benny Brigade. It means a lot to us, and it keeps us out of the clenches and the claws of corporate media so that we can do whatever the hell we want here. It's really fun. Like the verse of the day, ladies and gentlemen. We wouldn't be able to do the verse of the day, I don't think, if we were owned by some publicly traded conglomerate. They'd be like, no, it'll offend people. No, ladies and gentlemen, we are not ashamed of the gospel of God. We are not. From Jeremiah 29:13, you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all of your heart. Do you feel like the times have been dark? Do you feel like there has been no sunlight, right? Do you feel like you've been seeking and searching and it's been tough? It's been a tough path forward. A lot of stumbles, a lot of falls, a lot of hurts, and a lot of bad things have been happening. But if you continue your path, if you continue your journey, you'll find God. You'll find God. You'll find your salvation. Through our Lord Jesus Christ, and Christ is King. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the show where we stand upright, where we walk forward onto victory. Be part of the Benny Brigade. Join us. It's so salty around here. And, well, you're part of a much bigger movement, and a very, very special movement, and a movement that's going to save the greatest nation on earth. Ladies and gentlemen, perfectly crystallizing everything that we stand for here. My favorite, I don't care if it's an unofficial Trump ad, my favorite Trump ad of all time. Let's take us out.
Millions of Americans sincerely love Donald Trump. They love him in spite of everything they've heard. They love him often in spite of himself. They love Donald Trump because no one else loves them. The country they built the country their ancestors fought for over hundreds of years, has left them to die in their unfashionable little towns, mocked and despised by the sneering half-wits with finance degrees but no actual skills who seem to run everything all of a sudden. Whatever Donald Trump's faults, he is better than the rest of the people in charge. At least he doesn't hate them for their weakness. Donald Trump, in other words, is and has always been a living indictment of the people who run this country. That was true 4 years ago when Trump came out of nowhere to win the presidency, and it's every bit as true right now. Trump rose because they failed. It's as simple as that. If the people in charge had done a halfway decent job with the country they inherited, if they'd cared about anything other than themselves, even for just a moment, Donald Trump would still be hosting Celebrity Apprentice. But they didn't. Instead, they were incompetent and narcissistic and cruel and relentlessly dishonest. They wrecked what they didn't build. They lied about it. They hurt anyone who told the truth about what they were doing. That's true. We watched. America is still a great country, the best in the world, but our ruling class is disgusting. A vote for Trump is a vote against them. That's what's going on in this country.